You are watching the Doctalk show. In our future story today,
nali ntambula ne mpulira ng'okugulu kutandika kunduma ebitandikira kati bwe nagendako mu lwaliro luno bwe bankubye ekifaananyi ne bangamba nti eggumba lyawogokamu naye okusinziira okulumizibwa okugulu nali mbeera nga nsiimulako kaloobu nga mbiyita ebintu bya mpola mpola naye ng'ate bibyo bireese obulwadde bungi mpulira wendi wonna mpulira obulumi bwereere nali ntambula ne mpulira kugulu nga kunduma nibijjiraawo bwebityo paka kugenda nga byeyongera gamba mpaka bwe najja mu lwaliro.
Osteoporosis is a very common condition, especially amongst the elderly. This occurs because the architecture of the bone is lost over time. This is our bones go through wear and tear as we grow, and ultimately they become very fragile. These patients will normally come to you with after a very trivial injury, a very trivial fall, or sometimes not even trauma of any sort. You'll find that they have pain or a deformity in a certain body part, especially the legs and the hands. So it's something that has to be dealt with very cautiously because there's a very high risk of failure when it's managed poorly. Osteoporosis doesn't pick a man or a woman. It can affect anyone. The older we get, the more we are at risk of getting it. The absorption of these nutrients like calcium that help to build the bone, that absorption is markedly reduced, the older we get. Osteoporosis is something we have to start working on as when we are young. Things like exercising to build the strength of your bone, having a healthy diet, cut out the junk. That can help build your bone and make it stronger. We have a patient on the ward, a 67-year-old Flavia, who fractured after something very trivial. She felt pain in her leg, sat down, and then, next thing she knows, she has a deformity in the leg. When you look at the x-rays of this patient, the bone is very osteopenic, and that's a very typical example. When we went ahead to investigate her by doing x-rays, noted that the bone is very osteoporotic. This is a typical example. She's the typical kind of patient you find with osteoporotic bone. This may not only happen in patients who are elderly. It can also happen in the young, especially those who have, other diseases that can bring about this weakness of the bones. Things you can do that are very bone protective. One of these is exercise. But the younger you start, the more bone stock you build, and the stronger your bones get. Things like cigarette smoking are very detrimental to your bone health. Eat a healthy diet. Try to cut back on the unprocessed foods and the junk, because the more food you have, the better quality you have in your food, the more nutrient you get out of it. Aging is ultimate, but we can choose to age gracefully and delay the complications that come with aging, like osteoporosis.
you are watching the Doctalk show.
Welcome back. We are discussing osteoporosis with a senior orthopedic surgeon from Mulago Hospital, Dr. Tito, and we want to learn more about how to prevent osteoporosis. Dr. Tito, how can we prevent this process of excessive bone destruction that causes osteoporosis?
Okay, thanks very much, Dr. Darius. I think I can say the mainstay of preventing osteoporosis is exercise. Mainstay is exercise. Medicine number 1 is exercise. Medicine number 2 is exercise. Medicine number 3 is exercise.
So
in other words, I would like to emphasize the role of exercise in preventing bone softening or osteoporosis. It's a tendency when we get more money, when we get better off in life, to try and to start to neglect physical work. So we drive our cars to work. We get house helps in the homes to do the chores of the house, washing plates, washing cups. We get shamba boys to slash the compound. We get all the work paid for other than doing it ourselves. That is very, very, very dangerous. And it's common practice to find the rural people who live simple life rarely suffer these conditions, because every day the housewife wakes up to fetch water from the well, to look for firewood, carries the baby at the back where he's digging in the garden, comes home to cook for the family, does all that.
So he's doing a lot of work.
We can say that lady, the rural woman, is healthier as far as the bones are concerned as compared to a city well-off-to-do lady. So what we would do is to say it's not bad to be well-off, but be mindful of your health, such that you should put in regular exercise in your routines. Find some hours every day or 3 times a week to go out and jog, to go out and swim,
and to
go out and play tennis, such that you can keep your body, muscles, bones in check.
Okay. So if we have more exposure to the sun and more physical exercises, we're strengthening the bones and activating the vitamin D hormones.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what you're trying to
So not only are we exercising the body and getting sunshine, but we're also preventing obesity. We are preventing overweight. Overweight, excessive weight, excessive fat is also counterproductive as far as the health of our bones is concerned.
Okay.
And I emphasized exercise, but let me also emphasize diet. When we are off financially, we'll think good food is only found in supermarkets. In Uganda or in Africa, we are still lucky. We have fresh foods from the gardens. And we are lucky. We also have foods which have not been contaminated with a lot of fertilizers and animal products, with a lot of drugs, you know. So that is very, very, very healthy for our bones. So there is what we call the body mass index, but which I advise my patients, simple way of knowing your good weight. When you are tall, that means you have longer bones, which can carry more weight. When you are short, which means you have shorter, smaller bones, which should not carry a lot of weight. So the simple formula is your height. You put it in centimeters. Let's say me, I'm 1 meter, 75 centimeters, which means my height in centimeters is 175.
Okay.
So subtract 100, a simple formula, take off 100. That should give you the good weight you should have.
For the height. What happens if it's too little?
Again, we have talked about, especially our sisters who like to have, is it American size, slender?
A slim size.
Europeans
you need a figure.
Say the slender you are, the beautiful you are. So some go into bad eating habits. They don't eat that, they don't eat that. They try to keep a small weight, slender weight, which is also not good. Because we have mentioned that the process of bone formation goes hand in hand with bone destruction. Which means if you have very small bone stock you kept because you wanted to remain small, when the process of destruction starts, it will destroy very little which you have. So we should
won't have enough reserve.
Endeavor to maintain a good body weight.
Okay.
Not too thin, at the same time not too fat.
Okay. So and as we conclude, I want to ask the role of pregnancy. Does pregnancy interfere with, can pregnancy cause weak bones? Because some mothers, I've encountered some mothers who are put on calcium supplements. Is that necessary?
Pregnancy per se is not sickness. Because as we mentioned that God created in us hormones which support the lady when she's pregnant, the estrogens. And what I can emphasize is when our sisters, our wives, our mothers are pregnant, they should keep active. They should have a positive attitude. I'm pregnant, yes, but I must also get out and do exercise. Get out and work. In the rural areas,
and get some sunshine.
We get interesting stories in the rural areas. A lady keeps working in her gardens. Some of them even deliver when they are either harvesting millet or in the garden picking sweet potatoes. That is a healthy life of a pregnant woman. So when one is pregnant, he needs to take a good balanced diet, because we also know that the lady needs the diet, but also is also feeding the baby who is inside. But failure to have a good diet will also affect the child inside and also will affect the bones of the mother.
Okay.
So again, a healthy pregnant woman should exercise and should take a good diet.
And go out into the sun
And get out
to
to
get
the sun.
some exercise,
Good.
to get some energy into the body.
Exactly.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.
Insights from a malaria specialist.
A special message for people living in malaria low areas, which is Kampala Metropolitan, Kigezi, Ruwenzori, and even Elgon. In these places, malaria is not severe, not only in children and pregnant mothers. An adult my size in these places can get severe malaria and convulse and die. Now in Kampala, you can have a 12, 13-year-old who has never got malaria in their life. And because they have never got malaria, they are non-immune and they can get severe malaria. So don't only focus on under 5 and pregnant mothers. These older children need to be focused on. And therefore, we need new care practices for these areas which now have very low malaria.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.
Remember, you can send in your questions and comments on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter. If you missed some of these shows, you can also go onto our YouTube page, that's the Doctalk Show, and have a replay of the videos that would have aired in the previous episode. So we thank you again, Dr. Tito, for the great work you're doing, and we hope the message has reached out to the populations. Prevention is better than cure. Take care of your bones, take care of your diet, do lots of exercise, and have healthy bones.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time on the Doctalk Show.